Drag Race again.
We're
gonna be saying this in like June, July. We're gonna be like, again, we're back again, again.
So many franchises. God,
help us all. I'm happy there's only 2 at the moment. I'm like relishing in that right now.
For real.
Anywho, welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where the tea is piping hot and we are always ready to spill. I'm Logan Murphy, just a gay.
I'm Audrey. Oh, here we go.
Sorry.
I'm already jumping in. No, you're good. You're good. I am Audrey, and as you can see, I am just happy to be here.
And I'm Luci, and I think I'm happy to be here. Like, I could make any face and you would have no idea.
100%.
Like, I'm smiling, but you can't tell.
Nope.
It's all the Botox.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we finally got Audrey on a Drag Race podcast.
Thank God. Honestly, it's taken a minute.
Just a minute, but we had it happen. Lucy's back. We love to see it. Yes. So check
upside down everything.
Upside down this time, which we love to see. No, Lucy popped in studio and I was like, what is this? Because all I got was a box about that big. And I was like, what is happening? And then we got her on camera and I was like, oh, good. Yes.
Love it.
Fabulous. And obviously we are here to discuss episode 5 of season 14 of RuPaul's Best Friends Make Him Laugh, Southern Hospitality Race.
This episode honestly was very devastating from the start. I will say, like, I don't know if we want to just jump right into it because I was not anticipating this first, like, within moments. We get the horrifying news that
before we get
get to
the horrifying news, there's one thing that I wrote down before the horrifying news. So we walk back into the workroom. Alyssa Hunter is gone, and I'm sad, and she shouldn't have gone home. But it's fine.
I was gonna say, do you guys agree? Because I was talking to my sister about this whenever it happened that Alyssa Hunter went home, and we were trying to decide because for her, she got eliminated because she was just, as the judges put it, just really bad. Like, they didn't enjoy it. But then should she be punished for, she definitely went there. Like, she definitely gave it a really good effort compared to other people who just, like, definitely played it safe. And so do you reward effort over just, like, not, just kind of chilling during the performance? Because obviously we know how that one ended, and so I do feel bad, like, because she really did, you could tell she tried so hard to at least put forth, like, energy and everything. So I felt bad for her.
For me, it's very difficult because she talked a lot about how English was not her first language, and so this was a challenge that regardless of what the improv was for, she was going to struggle.
Yeah.
Like, that was from the jump. We knew she was going to struggle in this sort of challenge. And then to get, like, and this is nothing to diss Cornbread, because Cornbread's, like, feelings and what she was going through at that time are 100% valid. But for RuPaul to talk to Cornbread and be like, this is the beginning of the rest of your life, basically, all this kind of stuff. And then Alyssa is also sharing her struggles. And RuPaul almost just, like, completely just, like, it's not a factor for him. That really frustrated me upon, like, watching a lot of other podcasts of people talking about Drag Race this week. For me personally, I think Alyssa was the worst in the challenge. I don't think the bottom 2 was correct. And Lucy and I talked about this last week as well. I don't think it was the correct bottom 2. But I also think, like, based on challenge performance, Alyssa should have gone home. Based on lip sync, I still stand behind the fact that I think she won.
Yeah, it was a tough call because obviously they edited it so it looked like the money gun thing was just like a catastrophe. But I think overall, I mean, from, like, if you look at it, I guess from, like, the editing standpoint, I guess the editors and the producers were like, I guess her storyline is over from here, and that's probably obviously what the decision was going with. But I did feel bad. because she was so lovely. She was so nice, such a good energy. But we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I really like Kerri in that, but it still, you take the money gun away. I mean,
yeah.
But it is a reality show, so
very, very that. But yes, Alyssa is gone. Kerri wipes off her message and then throws the towel, and it lands right on DeJa's head. And it's comedy gold. Kerri is just so good for me.
So funny.
Like she is very Alyssa Edwards for me in the fact that she doesn't know that she's funny, but she is.
There's do you guys watch if y'all watch Race Chaser with Alaska and Willem, they do it's like they have such funny clips, and it's always the one where Kerri Colby is like dragonfly. They put it in
dragonfly,
such the funniest moments. But yeah, comedy gold without even trying.
Yeah. Yes. So there's a lot of talk about people needing to do better in challenges, and I'm like, it's literally episode 5.
Yeah, they're all like, we really have to make sure that we win a challenge right now. Like, if we don't, we're gonna get lost. And I'm like, y'all, this is only, I think, their third episode altogether.
This was their third episode altogether.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're already like super nervous, but I guess when you think about it, like Angeria's already won 2, so it's like for someone, it's crazy. And I was watching the pit stop, and I agree with Alaska. She was like, I could have seen her already win 3 challenges. I do too. I thought she could have definitely won the ball, and obviously the 2 that she already won. So she's definitely making a run for the crown for sure.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Yes. And then, as you alluded to earlier, Audrey, we walk into the workroom. There is no corn and there is no bread, and everyone is confused. And then RuPaul comes in, not with a hello, but with a hey girls. And I was like, oh no. And then this time, as opposed to previous times, Victoria Scone, we get a video message, which I appreciated. And we find out that cornbread is gone.
So sad. So sad. It was just so unexpected too, because while I didn't watch this live, but I was obviously, it's so like I did it to myself getting on Twitter before I watched the episode, because then you see like everyone talking about it, and I'm like, what? I didn't get an inkling or anything during any part of the Twitterverse or anything before this episode, and to see that cornbread literally, I was shocked, because I think everyone was like, cornbread is going to be Final 4 at least. Like, it was definitely shocking.
Yeah, I was not ready. I was not ready, and I didn't even notice that she wasn't there until everybody said something, because you're just waiting for something to happen, and somehow I missed cornbread not being there. But
yeah,
it really sucks, because for me, she was the one to beat, but now I feel like it's Angeria is just kind of almost out there on her own now.
Yeah, it's Angeria's Drag Race, and someone's gonna have to take that from her. I did watch her Whatcha Packin'. I don't know if y'all did or anyone who's watching this did. So Cornbread actually explained what happened. Because in the episode, she mentions like during the acting challenge, what she the light that she shed in Whatcha Packin' with Michelle was that it was running between studios.
Oh.
And so she got caught and rolled her ankle going between studios for filming. So I would assume probably after the super teasers, probably. But
sucks. Obviously they'll invite her back for what is it? Season 15 would be the next one.
The thing that everyone is freaking out about is that RuPaul didn't even allude to that. So we have to hope and pray and believe
Yeah.
There's no confirmation yet. I feel
I'm trying to think, but they have already they haven't filmed 15 yet. No, that's this summer.
I believe casting has already closed for 15 though.
Yeah.
So if we see Miss Bread go off of social media, then we know what's happening. But
exactly.
Yes. Gone.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if they didn't ask her for 15. Like, that would honestly be cruel. They did that for literally every other person who's had to go early. So it's like,
honestly, I would almost rather see her on All-Star 7. I'm going to be really honest.
That's almost what I expect to happen because she proved herself so much already. It's not like if she comes back, it's already everybody's going to be freaking out.
Yeah.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
She's already mentally so strong with where to keep her head at. Like she already thinks like an all-star does.
Yeah.
So I could see them just being like, there's no point.
Yeah.
I mean,
if they want just a guaranteed winner of season 15, then they'll put her on season 15. But totally. I definitely just don't be surprised when she pops on All-Star 7 or 8 and just gets that opportunity. Because she's already one of the most iconic Ru girls ever.
Of course.
And like she was on 3 episodes of this season.
How crazy. I'm gonna be so sad too. No more cornbread Willow moments. Like literally so fucking cute every single time. Whenever Cornbread was giving Willow like her goodbye message to her, I was like, this is so pure, like this is just incredible. And we just won't get that for the rest of the season, which like I just think those parts are like my favorite parts besides the runway, but it's like no, we don't get any more of those. Like that's so sad.
Yeah.
But again, we move. Again, we move.
Again, we have to move, and we have a slightly inconsequential mini challenge where they force a homosexual pit crew member and a straight pit crew member to have multiple drag queens thrust into their ass.
It was a journey. Jorgeous was so funny during this part. Just like so, just trying so hard and just taking forever to get it done.
I think it was like the yapping and like the screaming and the balloon was bigger than Jorgeous was, so it just nothing was gonna happen.
Nothing.
My favorite was Maddy. And I like she's such a good sport about all of this too.
Totally.
Like, but also like I'm glad she has a girlfriend because otherwise, damn, that's all I'm gonna say about that. And I also love that DeJa had like some pushback from Bruno. That was great. And then at the end where they do Orion and Angeria and Orion gets it immediately and Angie's like, hold on now. I'll get it. I thought this was a lovely, I don't know if this was planned to be the mini challenge before they knew that Cornbread was gone. But if they brought this in just to bring levity to the whole situation, I appreciate it.
Totally.
And I appreciate Bruno and Bryce, especially Bryce, as a straight man. I appreciate them, playing along and like doing all of that. I now am going to wonder, where's Jason? Because he's my favorite. And if they fired him, I'm going to be really pissed.
Hopefully he just had other engagements during the filming during this.
I'm hoping. Because if they fired the best pit crew member they've ever had, I'm going to be pissed.
Fully. And it's crazy to think how long, like, the people who are on the pit crew, like, season after season, but I guess it's just, like, a great gig or whatever to have. Oh, yeah. But it's just, like, I love that it's just the same people each time. It makes it more fun for sure.
Because Bryce, I don't even remember when Bryce got brought on. Because there was, like, the period of time, because Jason was the longest, I believe. Jason was around starting at like season 5 or 6, I think. Bruno's fairly new. Sean was there for a while. I love Sean. And then Bryce got brought on, I think, like 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
I also just love that he's literally a rocket scientist.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's literally like an astrophysicist. And then does this on the side. Yeah, it's
Love
wild.
Love that.
But yeah, so this is completely inconsequential other than picking teams for the Maxi Challenge. And we find out that the Maxi Challenge is a comedy challenge. I guess you could call it that, a comedy acting challenge, where they have to make PSAs for the Save-a-Queen Foundation that helps first eliminated queens. Now that, I'm going to be honest, I loved seeing, so we get guest starring Tempest DuJour, my hometown queen.
Oh, wow. There you go.
The only queen from Tucson, Arizona ever.
Yeah.
And I love Tempest. I regularly go see her shows. So, like, love Tempest. And then also James Mansfield, who I adore. And from the House of Hall, Kimora Hall. I thought it was lovely to do first outs, but I honestly kind of wish it had been second outs, because those are the queens that get forgotten.
Who would it be from each person? It would be, who is out season 9 first?
Season 9
or second.
Season 9. So it would have been, if they did 7, 9, and 13. Think about this. It would have been Sasha Bell.
Oh, wow.
Kimora Black and Joey J.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. You really do just forget.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember any of those.
Damn.
Yeah. So it would have.
Maybe they'll do that next year. They'll do it next year.
Sasha also doesn't do drag as Sasha anymore. They are now Frisbee Jenkins.
Yes.
So it would have been Frisbee Jenkins, Kimora Black. Kimora Black is on the WoW Presents payroll. Like, I feel like that would have been super easy. And Joey J is one of the fan favorites from season 13, the first homosexual contestant ever. So, like,
Joey J is gay. There we go.
While I love Tempest, James, and Kimora, and I really love that they got the opportunity, second out maybe would have been a cuter sort of thing, because they just had the second elimination as well.
That's true.
So it felt kind of weird. Or hell, just bring back June Jambalaya. You know she's still in her hotel room.
Yeah.
Like, just bring June back. It's fine.
They should have done that. That's actually would have been really smart to do just the girls who were already eliminated and just, like, bring them back from that season. Give them an extra little run around town, you know?
Sure. It only would have been 2, so the teams would have been larger.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. But we end up with 3 teams. The green team, working with Kimora Hall, is Lady Camden, Daya Betty, and Bosco. The orange team, working with Tempest DuJour, is DeJa, Kerri, Angie, and Jorgeous. And the purple team, working with James, is Maddy, Willow, Jasmine, and Orion.
Which team would which first out would y'all have wanted to be?
Tempest.
You would have wanted Tempest. Lucy, how about you?
I would have wanted Tempest too. I think it's just because she's very much that older queen teacher vibe. So
I think I would have wanted to be Kimora on Kimora's team. I think
so. You wanted to be from the
fun.
House of Hall.
Yes, please. Sure. Yes, all day, every day.
Sure.
Love.
No, because the funny thing is, Tempest is literally a university professor. Like, she teaches at the University of Arizona in the theater department.
Wow,
which a lot of people don't know. Like, she's like, she deserves so much better than she's gotten. I'm happy she was there. But yes, so not a whole lot happens between, like, the record. Not a whole lot happens until, like, the runway.
The runway.
To be honest. I wrote down some things. Tempest is wearing the same shirt that Daya Betty wears in her confessional. Kimora Hall still doesn't know how to say "I was rooting for us." Jorgeous is in her head. It's set up, we got to set up that storyline of Jorgeous, over analyzing things, because then we got to justify putting her in the bottom later. But yeah, and then Tempest du Jour still hates Candy Ho.
Yeah. Long standing grudge.
I don't know if anything else before the recording stood out to y'all, but that's what I wrote down.
Not really.
Tempest is the queen who, isn't there a video where she's like, "Fuck you, Trixie"?
Yep.
Is that Tempest? That's what I thought about the entire episode. I was like, wow, I'm shocked that they didn't bring that up. I thought that was, yeah. That's what I thought about.
I feel like that's more of like a niche thing. Mm-hmm. And like people know her. If people have watched Drag Race, they know that she hates Candy Ho. So like that was like sort of the logical thing. James bringing up how she failed in the cheerleading challenge, which I still don't think she did, but regardless. And then obviously Kimora, I was rooting for us.
So funny.
It was the low-hanging fruit, but like I didn't like this challenge, is what I'm trying to say without saying it.
I didn't laugh a single time except for God, her name's escaping me. I thought she should have won.
Lady Camden?
Lady Camden. Great. That is the only time that I laughed, was during Lady Camden's part. Only time during that entire commercial, I guess we'll say. We'll say it was commercials. Lady Camden was the only one for me.
I think what was missing for me with this was I hated the rhyming aspect of it.
Same.
Because it took it away from that Sarah McLachlan sad feel. And it was the whole time I was like, the night before Christmas, the whole time.
Literally.
And I couldn't even really check in. That's why I had to go back and watch it a couple times, because I really I couldn't get there.
I was confused why there was a mandatory rhyming requirement. When, like, if you look at an ASPCA ad, which most of them were referencing without saying ASPCA, because they obviously didn't have the rights. Like, if you look at those ads, they don't rhyme. So why are we forcing them to? It threw a lot of people off.
It just makes it harder for like comedic timing, and so I think that's why it like hindered like the funny aspect. Like if you're so concerned about like making sure you hit the like funniness, or not the funniness, the rhyming.
The rhyming.
It's like,
well, the thing is, like everybody on the team, like they had the same cadence with what they were saying, and if anybody didn't have the same, they really stuck out.
Yeah.
So that's what I didn't like about it, and it didn't come across as something they were trying to make sad, or it's just really bad poetry.
Why even have this when last week was literally an acting challenge?
It was too much.
I really feel like what they're trying to do is fix season 7. So let's redo it now. Yeah. That way this will be the acting season, because it's, other than the ball, it's all been acting.
Or talent.
And I hate the acting challenges. I hate them. I like, maybe it's just me, but I hardly laugh during any of them. Like, obviously there are moments, but I just like, I don't know. I don't like the acting challenges at all.
I did like last week's. I thought last week's was stupid and funny.
Yes.
I feel like that was the best acting challenge they've had yet.
In a while.
But they also got like freedom to do whatever they wanted.
Because they wrote it themselves.
Totally.
That's the thing. I hope that Drag Race, they're not going to, but I hope that producers learn that like, that's a challenge that you can like, you can take the like super teaser part out of it, repackage it, and do it season to season. And it's honestly a challenge that I would love to see, because that's even more like, that's not even like, memorizing lines isn't like an important thing to do in drag. What the importance of acting and improv challenges on Drag Race specifically is to see how good your comedic timing is, to test like hosting skills in the real world, like all of that kind of stuff. That's what these are testing. And so let the queens come up with their own stuff. And if they fail on something they wrote themselves, as opposed to failing on something that was written by people who don't do drag. They may be gay, but they don't do drag. And so it's just like, that's been my issue a lot with a lot of it. Honestly, my highlights in all of the commercials were the returning queens. In all of them. Honestly, the winner of this week's challenge should have been James Mansfield. Honest to God. Because James really came in, she knew exactly what she was doing. She knew why she was there, and she delivered.
James is also really cool because, like, their YouTube is really popular now. And, you know, you gotta love a queen who, obviously, their time on Drag Race didn't go how they wanted it to, but they've, like, you know, that hasn't discouraged them. And obviously now they have, like, their YouTube empire to, like, I think that's just so cool. Because, like we were saying at the beginning, it's so easy for the first few to just, like, unless you're Vanessa Vanjie, like, to just kind of go by the wayside in terms of, like, other queens that we just think of so automatically. But yeah, James is having a moment for sure.
As an avid subscriber of James Mansfield on YouTube, I appreciate everything. I got hooked on her channel because at the start of her channel, she was doing queer and drag history. And so that's what clued me in. And then I just stuck around for the wig tutorials because eventually I'll start doing drag. So it's things that, like, will be good for me to know.
Totally.
Plus, she's just incredibly entertaining. I think if she had been on season, like, 10, 11, maybe even 12, I think she would have been a powerhouse.
I wonder if this is, like, gearing up for James to be, like, on an all-star season.
I think this is gearing up for all three of these queens to come back.
Like a reintroduction.
In a very similar way to having Jessica Wilde as a lip-sync assassin on All-Stars 6 when she had only lip-synced once on Drag Race and lost.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, the recording is dumb. Jorgeous wasn't wearing lashes for some reason. And then on the elimination day, the only thing of note is Jorgeous and Jasmine talking about how they are younger queens but have been doing drag for like 6 years because Jorgeous started doing drag when she was 6, basically. She's literally 21 and has been doing drag for 6 years.
That is so wild. I mean, I'm not like, okay, so I'm 25, right? But I even think, like, I'm at the age where I'm like, oh my God, 21 is so young. Like, that's so crazy.
I'm 24 and I feel that way. Like
21
Luci hates both of us right now.
I'm 32 and there's no, I can't even imagine, like, being at that level or doing it that long. I mean, I didn't start till I was 21, so.
And Jorgeous is just so good, like, just such a good entertainer. So it's like, she's definitely one of the queens where, like, you know, she was, like, put on the earth to do this,
to be a drag queen. Absolutely.
Yes, just so good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love the story of her going to Pride and then getting a job offer from, they couldn't say the club, obviously, because it didn't have rights, but it's Play Nashville. The people who know the drag scene know her home bar is Play Nashville, in case you needed to know. And I loved that, like, she had to have her parents there for all of her performances. I was just like, oh God.
We stand the support.
She's barely legal enough to be on Drag Race. That's where we're at.
Just so wild.
Yeah. They just keep getting younger and younger.
I mean, we crowned our youngest ever winner this last year. Sex on lag.
Yeah, my daughter has every intention of being on Drag Race someday. She's like, I'm going to be on Drag Race. And I'm like, not if she doesn't develop rhythm. She every day she puts on it's bad. It's bad. She has the determination, but it's bad.
I mean, maybe she will need the Save-a-Queen Foundation in 15 years, maybe.
There we go.
I made her like dance costumes for Christmas because she wanted drag. So she has heels and dance costumes, and she performs every night before bed, and usually several times throughout the day. And it's tragic.
Oh, no!
She is the whitest of white girls when she dances. She kicked herself in the head the other day, but like from behind.
Oh my god!
So I don't know. She could do a death drop, but
that'll get you far on Drag Race. That'll get you far on Drag Race, though.
That's it. The 1-year-old has better rhythm than she does. So.
No.
Maybe he'll be on Drag Race. I don't know.
We'll still be here covering it, most likely. Let's be honest.
But like 15 years down the road, you see a drag queen named Park Bench on there. That's
there we go.
She said that her drag name's either going to be Kerri Colby or Park Bench.
Well,
she's at right now.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, one of those is kind of taken. Unless it's Kerri, Carrie Colby.
I'm telling you, she's weird enough. I promise you, her drag name's probably just going to be Park Bench.
I honestly love that. Like, it's so dumb, but I love that.
I mean, she was raised by me. She has no chance in hell of being normal. So
Sure. No, totally. I love that.
Yeah, that's cute.
That made my week, honestly. It's been a rough week, but that just truly. Should we just go to the runway? Because I know it's all of our favorite part. Guest judge, Ava Max. Cool. I've heard 2 of her songs before.
Yeah, I recognized the one that they played for the lip sync. I was like, okay, I like this song.
The other one, I will say, I know from TikTok. Kings and Queens, whatever it's called, that one. It's like, if all of the queens had their kings on the throne, we would pop champagne. It was a really popular TikTok sound like a year ago. But that's also Ava Max. So if you know that song from TikTok or wherever, that's also Ava Max. But this was my first time like recognizing her as like a human that like speaks and does things other than music. Or no, does things other than the 2 songs I know her for. She's stunning.
Oh yeah, fully.
And honestly, her critiques were actually like not horrible.
It's always so nice when one of the like Lonnie Love does that really well too. Lonnie Love is a really good judge because she gives actual recommendations, being like, hey, maybe try this. So I always love when the judge actually comes with like constructive criticism, you know?
Well,
makes it so much nicer.
We started a petition last week when Lucy and I did episode 4. Because now that Carson is on Celebrity Big Brother, he's gonna win and he can retire. Ross has other things he can do, but we've petitioned to replace the white gaze with a rotating circle of Lonnie Love, Nicole Byer, Lizzo.
Please, Nicole Byer. I stand her so hard. I love Nicole Byer so much.
And T.S. Madison. Those 4 just rotating in and out.
He's so good.
They'd only have to do like 2 or 3 episodes a season. Like, and you get paid. So like, sure. Like that, I'm still pleased.
And they're actually invested too. Like,
literally,
I love the
Lonnie Love might be the best guest judge ever.
I think Nicole Byer can obviously like be one up there too. Like but I just love Nicole so much. But Lonnie, is right up there too. Lonnie and Nicole, I think, are my favorites.
I would also
from the past few seasons.
She's only been on 1 episode, but honestly, Nicki Minaj as well. Mm-hmm. I thought Nicki was a really good guest judge on season 12. But runway time. Category is Spring Has Sprung. What would you all have done for Spring Has Sprung?
Honestly, no idea. Spring is like my least favorite time of the year.
Same.
So it's just like, I don't know. I honestly probably would be very basic and just do like a floral print of something. I would not have thought out of the box at all.
Sure.
See, I would have been covered in slinkies. So
oh, that's smart. Yeah, there we go.
I would have done to do the double entendre, if you will. I would have put flowers on like Slinkies.
See, so smart.
And done like some sort of like reveal with it. Like that's what I would have done.
Yeah, I did the look one time with Christmas presents as a bra, and I ripped off the top, and Slinkies popped out. So
yes.
It was like, spring has sprung. I was like, how do you? Nobody had. I would have attempted a pogo stick or something. It would have been tragic. I would have been out with cornbread. It would have been the first time anybody took a pogo stick on national television.
Yes, moon shoes. I'm with
Moon
you,
shoes would have
Audrey.
been good.
That's probably our generation, but yes, I remember.
Would have been so good.
No, speaking of cornbread again, because I just have to bring her up every episode now. Did y'all see that someone edited? It was a meme that was like the real villain of the season, and it was a photo of Willow's entrance shirt, and they changed it from angle to ankle.
Honestly, though, have y'all ever seen the movie Misery? There was a meme also going around where there's this like scene in Misery where the girl like takes a hammer to the man's foot, and they were like, RuPaul when a queen starts doing good in a season, and I was like, oh my god.
We could honestly have a season of injured queens at this point. That's how many, like Victoria Scone, Eureka, Cornbread, Ocean Aqua Black.
It's crazy.
It would be a big girl season.
Madame LeQueer, literally, it would be a big girl season.
Yeah.
Stop injuring the big girls.
It's crazy. There have been a lot of injuries.
Fat and broken. It would be so cute.
I love that. Honestly, because I need another big girl winner. We only have one, and it's Natalia Pliacam from Drag Race Thailand. But I need it. Oh, and Lawrence Janie. So sorry. I forget. I still think that Bimini won that season. It's revisionist history, but anyway.
They didn't give Lawrence a long reign either. It was so fast.
She has the shortest reign of any winner across every franchise.
Oh, yeah. It was quick.
Which is unfortunate, but she has a BAFTA. Who cares? First up, gorgeous like Jorgeous.
So beautiful. This was probably one of my favorite looks. I think I when Jorgeous walked out, I literally probably gasped. I think she looks so beautiful. Anyone else?
She looks like Tinkerbell.
So good.
Yeah.
It's like cotton candy Tinkerbell for me.
I really like this as well. It was a little basic. I'm gonna say it.
Totally.
A lot of these for me as well didn't really scream spring as much as they scream, I put fake flowers on a gown.
Totally.
And
she's not recreating the wheel. She's not recreating the wheel, but she did it so nice.
No. She did, for what she did it very well. I loved that she added the first stole. I think that was a cute part of it as well. She just looks good. Like,
so good.
Sure. Oh boy. Kerri Colby.
Oh, she got ugly.
I mean,
I can see what she's going for. I can see what she's going for. It just isn't like it look like her outfit looks like she's trying to go for like a bouquet type vibe. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, but there's just something off.
I don't love this like wallpaper brown section in the middle. If the entire get rid of whatever the fuck is on this like piece of fabric she's carrying on her arm, because that was not necessary. If she had just come out in like a wider bouquet with the flowers, because they all ended up like crowding her face, and if the entire gown part had been that green, I think it would have been really good. This concept is great.
Yeah.
This is by far the worst of the week for me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I really like the top.
Yeah. Well, it's like if she was going to do flowers, like if I was her, I would have done like all roses and then like all white roses, and she'd be like a red one or something, kind of peeking out the middle.
That would be cool.
But it just kind of got lost, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Sorry, girl. Angie. Looking beautiful.
I don't like it. I like from here up. I'm like, well, from here, I don't know.
It's something about, for me, it's something about the bodice part, I guess is how you say it. Like, I like the skirt, and I like, obviously, like Lucy saying, from here up, but there's something, I don't know, the bodice part of it just doesn't look like as good as the skirt and then her face, obviously.
It looks like she ran out of flowers.
Yeah, something like that.
It looks like a design challenge look, and she ran out of flowers.
Totally.
Well, she kind of reminds me, like, the silhouette of the bottom reminds me of Tina Burner and, like, the Beast challenge. Like,
yeah.
That's why I realize it's a skirt, but it almost looked like big pants from certain angles.
I would have loved if it was big pants, honestly. Come out in palazzo pants with just a bodice and these gloves covered in flowers. I would love that.
But honestly, her face is correct.
Like, it always is. It always is. This is a little bit different for her as well. I noticed she was doing her makeup a little bit differently. And I don't know if that's just because we saw, like, the mid of the process in the workroom. Oh, because we'll talk about Willow after we run through the runway, because I completely forgot about that. I'm gonna be very honest. But we'll talk about Willow. DeJa Skye. This again was one of the looks for me that is very, very good, but I don't necessarily get spring.
I don't know.
Pants.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. It's something about the pants. I think I really like the hair. But I think that's kind of where it ends for me.
Like, if she would have had like a skirt or like a trumpeted dress where like but the pants, no.
The blouse is cute. I like the like folded moment across like the chest area. I think that looks good. I like the poof sleeve. It's the pants for me as well. I think I love the colors. Like, her color story is on it, but
or she could just came out like inside the Easter basket with like that top part, like in the Easter basket.
I would have loved that.
And then just bare legs. That would have been cute. Like,
sure.
I don't know. I just don't like the pants.
No.
Yeah, it's very drag queen church service for me. So I don't know. It's
which I don't hate, but I don't like this look.
Yeah.
You get Latrice Royale, DeJa Skye. Who else could we get in this drag queen? Angie, probably. Just giving a Jesus is a Biscuit church sermon. Sure.
Totally.
Maddy fucking Morphosis. This is my favorite look of the evening.
I did really like this look. I think maybe if we saw the face more, or there was something, I don't know. I really liked this look because it was the first one that was just so different.
Yeah.
But there was just like, I don't know, there's just something that could have taken it maybe a little further. I don't know if maybe it's the shape of the body could have been a little bit different, but I really like this look for sure.
Yeah, I think my only problem is I instantly thought of how the Vivian hers, and it had the dimension, which I think that's missing here.
Yeah.
I just feel like
totally
there's some color variation that could have happened somewhere. But
yeah.
I loved it though, and it moved really well. It was really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was definitely a hit. This was a hit for Maddy. I thought it was really good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this is my favorite of the night because there are better looks that for me just don't fit the category that we'll talk about in a second. But for the category, this is definitely my favorite look of the evening. I agree with what you were saying, Lucy. If there had just been a little bit, like even just a few little bits of like a darker gray or even like a black.
I don't know. It would also
thing.
be good if she would have like grabbed the top and like pulled a rainbow out or something. That would have been
Oh
like
yeah,
really cute. But I also like a gag and in a look.
totally.
Yeah. She's really doing different things this season with her runways, and they haven't all hit the mark, but I appreciate that she's doing things different. Different than what we expect. I'll say that. Jasmine Kennedie in a bodysuit, but I thought she looked good.
Yeah, I thought she looked stunning. Really good. I like it.
Yeah, I really love the bodice. I just didn't like the red on the boots.
I think I'd agree.
Yeah.
Like for me, that was the only negative.
I think it was Alaska again on the pit stop was saying that she really wants Jasmine to just kind of not be so pageanty all the time.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't love the pageant earrings on this, like the big chunky earring.
Yeah.
And like I think also Alaska said it, because I did watch the pit stop as well. I would have loved this with like a wet hair moment.
Yeah. Totally.
Because then it's like really spring. Like I'm surprised we didn't see wet hair for a spring runway, because like obviously rain. Like I maybe would have expected that. I don't know. It's good. It's good. She looks. This is one of the outfits that Jasmine has worn that I've liked more than most of her other ones.
Me too.
Say that.
I agree.
And I don't dislike Jasmine. I really like Jasmine. So, Orion Story.
I really like this look. She's very much that throwback to the 90s kind of pinup. So like I really like it. I don't know if it was so much spring other than the bunny, but
there was something about the panty where like it looked like the furry part of it, like it looked like there was like a string that should have been tied to like make it like conform to the body a little bit more, and then it wasn't, so it was just like hanging in the front. So maybe that was what she was going for, but it just looked like it wasn't like tightened all the way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so that really, that's all I could think about the entire time watching her outfit. I mean, it's not like the worst thing we've ever seen, but it's just, I don't know. I don't love it.
It's not the worst on this runway. I'll say that. I like this. This is another one for me that just doesn't fit the category as well as I would want it to.
Yeah.
If she had come out with an Easter basket, that's honest to God all I would have needed. And I would have been, yes, ma'am. An Easter basket filled with like condoms. That would have been cute.
Totally.
Like that would have been something different. If you're gonna go bunny, go full sexy bunny. I want full sexy bunny Orion Story. But she looks good. Yeah.
She could have came out with a condom bunny. I mean,
right?
One.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you were saying with the.
I will say, I think.
It.
Yeah, I think this is also the best her face has looked on Drag Race.
Yeah, her face, her body, everything was correct.
Totally.
I want full sexy bunny.
I do like the fact that she's kind of like that sexy Peg Bundy kind of feel about her. It just reminds me of growing up. Not that I was around a sexy Peg Bundy, but
she does give very Peg Bundy in a unique, different like take on that. I liked it. It was fine. Willow Pill.
Obsessed. Love. I love Willow so much.
Yeah.
I will say the look, what made the look for me was the back part of the house. I think that's kind of what really sold it to me. But I just love. I love.
I like that she kept the dress so simple and muted, because it's just it's pastel, but it's also just so understated, which I think made the help stand out so much more.
Totally.
Because it was such a difference. But
I think this is one of
wrong.
Yeah. I think this is one of my favorite things I've seen this season on the runway. Just not for this category. I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna disagree ever so slightly. I didn't really get spring from this. Like she's in a house, sure. She's got a floral print dress going on, sure. None of that really screams spring for me. And I would say the same thing about the help. But I really like this look. And I'm going to forget about the category for a second. I think this is incredibly well done. Everything you said, Luci, I completely agree with. Just not for this category. That's all.
It's not really spring necessarily, other than the colors.
Yeah. Like if the house had a full front lawn with flowers, then I think I would have been more fine with it. But I like it, just not for this category.
Yeah, when she first came out, it felt very Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept waiting for a bunny to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily the help, but I like that.
I like that too. It's very Willow Pill of her to do so.
Totally.
Yeah. Daya Betty in Asia O'Hara's Worst Nightmare. I was confused by this, and then I liked it, and then I hated it, and I've landed on I like it.
I think the color orange is wrong, but otherwise I think it's a cool concept. But I think orange, like you're saying, for the whole spring thing, I think orange might have been a miss. But otherwise, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know that I like the look so much, but she performed the shit out of that. I could watch her swat at imaginary bugs all day. It was great. So, I really liked that part of it.
I liked sort of the nod to woodland pixie, because I still see spring from that. In a very different way that feels also very Daya Betty. I love that we saw this sort of the ribbon dress thing again from her. I liked this a lot more than I liked her other ribbon dress that she was eliminated in the first time. But I will agree with you, Audrey. I think yellow may have been better. I think maybe even a pastel mint green maybe would have been just so the butterflies stand out a little bit,
or even a pastel orange. I just think that this just takes the orange is just a bit too dark.
It took a while for me to even see the butterflies on the dress itself, because it's very obviously on the legs, but I didn't really notice it on the body until I took a closer look, and then honestly saw her Instagram post, and then I realized it. But yeah, it's fine. Sure. Lady Camden. This is my favorite look of the night. Again, not for this category.
Yeah. I guess I just don't know how to define spring. Because all the ones that you're it's not really spring to me. I'm it's as spring as it's going to get, I think. Because like with Willow Pill, when I looked at it, I didn't not think spring. So I'm spring enough for me. And I think this one too, it's just the very, outside vibes, outside for tea, outside for, little fruit and food and stuff. So I don't know. I guess the whole what spring comes into effect, because it's just I don't know. It's spring enough for me, but yeah, I liked it. I don't like I don't know if the pattern is the right word of the dress. I don't
fabric.
know, the coloring. There we go.
The fabric. The fabric of the dress.
I don't love the fabric of the dress, but the idea is cool, and I liked the tea coming out. That was cool.
Yeah, I thought the look was really cute. I wish the dress had a little more pop to it, but I think this
Yeah.
was one of my favorite looks for the night anyway. Plus, I like the teacup pouring, so
smart. And we haven't seen a truly British look from Lady Camden, so I am glad that this is giving us more of an in on her, because I'm really liking her so far, and I feel like they're overlooking her too much.
Yeah.
Because now everyone's been in 4 episodes. This is episode 5, so everyone's been in 4 of them. And I feel like she just isn't standing out in a way that producers are going to give her editing time, other than her interactions with Angie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need her to be Angie's foil all season. I would like to see more of Lady Camden as Lady Camden.
Yeah, totally. I can see her making it far, but maybe like place 7th or 6th as of right now. I could see her making it maybe around there.
Yeah, like her confessionals are really good, but she's also really good in the challenges, and I just feel like they're just not giving her enough credit.
No. We'll talk about the results of the challenge in a second, but I may or may not have disagreed. Who knows? We'll see. And the last of the season 14 girls that we're going to talk about is Bosco, coming out in the rain cloud tulle moment and then revealing into this sunshine yellow gown.
I didn't like I think what made it for Bosco was the reveal. Like, I don't know, there was just something about the cloud part that I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cute. But I think what made it be like, oh, that's actually pretty cool was the reveal. I think had it just stayed the cloud, it was just like, not recreating the wheel in any sense. But I think the reveal did make it really cool. I think maybe if the bottom of the dress was a little lighter, it would have been like the more like spring type thing to me. But yeah, I thought it was cool.
I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of in the middle with it. It's like the gray dress, like it was cute. Like this is cute, but like neither one of them on their own are like just a gray dress would be like spring. I would have been like, okay,
sure.
Like I kind of get a cloud, but like if you sent me this, like just this picture, and you're like, what is the category? I'd be like yellow.
Totally.
Like
I almost
spring.
Yeah, if I saw this without knowing the category, I would say yellow, but my second would probably be like old Hollywood, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with you, Lucy. I'm kind of in the middle on it. I wish it felt like the cloud was an afterthought. And it was just like, okay, how much tulle fabric can we shove under this like column dress, but still like make it impactful enough? And I appreciate the reveal when it's not a reveal runway, and it was a good reveal. Okay, I'm just gonna say I don't like it. I think that's where I'm at. I don't like it. I'm gonna say that I don't particularly. I like Bosco a lot.
Totally.
I just didn't love this look.
No, it wasn't one of her best looks so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So we move on because we also have the first eliminated girls to talk about because they got to walk the runway, which I loved. I thought that was I appreciated that a lot. And first is Tempest du Jour.
I mean, we're matching.
Literally.
I love Tempest.
Me too.
This is not it.
Same. Yeah.
This is not it. But
this is I was gonna say this is the best she's ever looked on Drag Race, but her season 7 finale look was really good, so I can't say that.
Yeah, again, it's like it's definitely not bad. She looks great, but it's just like it's not wowing me like some looks on Drag Race have. And so it's not bad, but it is what it is.
I'm happy she's back.
Yeah, Totally.
That's really honestly it. James fucking Mansfield. Now, if you are a fan of one Tracy Martell, you will know exactly where this entire look came from. And now all of the timing and scheduling things make a lot of sense because James was actually one of the models and like the primary model for Trixie Mattel's launch of her Bottle Blonde collection, and this is, I think, the exact look.
No, it definitely is. It looks great. I mean, it's very, very James Mansfield, very the vibe.
Absolutely.
Looks great.
Stunning.
Yeah. I like that if you covered her face up, you know exactly who it is because she's so set in her style.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's like I love just watching James in drag, just like the squeaky voice and like it's very much Anna Nicole Smith for me.
Yes.
And she was my hero, so I think that's why I like her so much.
She's moved closer to us, Audrey. She's in Vegas now, so actually I don't know if that's closer.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm in Texas. I don't know.
I was like, what's closer, Milwaukee or Vegas?
Everything seems far when you live in Texas. Everything's like very far.
It's far, and then you add like 8 hours because of Texas.
Literally, though, it's crazy.
Yes. Last up, from the House of Hall, Chicago's fucking Mackie doll, Kimora Hall.
Stunning. It's so good. Like, honestly, the other girls should have seen this and been like, give her the $5,000. Like,
right?
It's just so perfect. It's so perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the color of that dress. The color for me is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But like she's just so damn stunning anyway, but the color. Which I do have a matching lip gloss that would go perfect with that. So when she walked out, I was like, she needs it.
Is that your brand, Lucy?
It is.
Available. The link is available below. Profanity Cosmetics. Please go check them out.
It's actually very much the color of her dress because when she walked out, I was like,
"Here, I'll take it off so people, if you want to show it again, so people can see it a little bit better."
Oh yeah,
stunning.
It's a golden green.
Stunning.
So good.
We love. So we see the infomercial. It was fine.
See, she just needs this palette and she's good to go.
Oh,
there we go. Honestly.
Yes. Available at the link below. Check it out.
Yeah, not for promo, but like when I saw it, I was like, I have that color and a lip gloss and a shadow.
Yes. We love to see it.
I feel like I need to send her one and be like, please.
Honestly, no, you get all the free promo here. You come on the channel, you get all the free promo you want. We're promoting your company, we're promoting Audrey's YouTube channel, all the things. All of them. So
love that.
Yes. So we see the thing. It was fine.
Yeah. It's how every acting challenge is, though. I'm going to stand by it. You laugh maybe once or twice, but otherwise you're like, let's see which one they are editing to know who is in the bottom two. You know, very that.
Literally. Yeah. I will say the only line I remember from anyone, shockingly, comes from Angie. Yep. And literally, the only thing I remember is, what was that bitch's name again? That's all I remember.
It was my favorite part. Like Lady Camden was great for me. Like she nailed it. But like that one line from Angie seemed almost like she messed up. And they just left it in there. Like it was so natural. Like I thought, did they leave that in there on purpose? But I was like, no, she actually meant to.
Yeah.
She's just so good. I love Angie. Angie's just honestly,
I don't even think she
Perfect.
knows how funny she
Perfect.
is.
Yes,
No.
just so naturally has everything that you would need, you know?
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah. I completely agree. So we find out that the safe girls are Daya Betty, DeJa Skye, Willow Pill, Kerri Colby, and Maddy Morphosis. In the top, we have Lady Camden, Angie, and Bosco. And in the bottom three, we have Jorgeous, Jasmine, and Orion. I thought for the most part, I agree with the tops and bottoms. I can't really justify putting anybody else in the top or the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of where I was at with it. We do, however, find out that the winner of this week's challenge is Bosco. And I was confused.
I was too.
For me personally, I would have given the win to Lady Camden. Or, you know what, honestly? Or Angie. Like...
Yeah, I felt Bosco was the third best in that.
They just kept using the point of her being a good director as her reason for winning, but it's like that's never been something in the past before. If anything, like
it would be a detriment.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think of so this whole situation on the opposite side of that. I thought of Monique Hart on All Stars 4 when she was in the bottom for the Stacey Lane Matthews Henny Challenge for no reason other than apparently her directing was bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
That's happened to Kennedy Davenport, I believe. I think season 7, she was like the leader of the group. And so because of, I guess the group did really bad. I don't remember the specifics, but she was put in the bottom for that too. And so it's just like...
Wasn't that also Trixie was in the bottom for the...
Yeah.
She was like basically the leader. Yeah, like normally it's bad to be the leader. I don't know. It felt like, oh, we're gonna like, and it was kind of set up because Bosco at the start of the episode was like, I haven't won anything yet, and I want to win. And so was Lady Camden. So I was like, okay, good. So one of them is gonna win. Cool.
Yeah.
But no, I just think, though I can't remember anything that Lady Camden said, I still will justify that I think she did better.
I thought she was going to win for sure whenever it like got down to it. And especially, was it they said that Lady Camden was safe first or that Orion was in the bottom first? Because I think how it worked, I was like, oh, okay, because usually they do like one person and then the second person is who they give it to. And I think Lady Camden was the second person they spoke to, or maybe I'm just remembering wrong. But I thought for sure it was going to be her.
I didn't watch that portion of the episode, to be very honest, because I had watched like the win and the bottom and the lip sync, like when it was live. And so rewatching it this morning, I was like, I don't need to watch again. It's fine because I know what happens, but maybe.
Yeah, they did do that with the order because I thought they were going to give it to Lady Camden too. They're like, no, you're safe. And I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
I seriously, and you said it earlier, Audrey, and I'm going to agree. I feel like they're just setting up Lady Camden to be a very solid performer, but she's not going to make it anywhere past like 6th at this point.
Very that. I think the whole, because they're definitely, before Cornbread left, I was like, there's no way that the top 4 isn't going to be Cornbread, Willow, Angeria, and Bosco. I think now that Cornbread has left, it's like more up in the air for sure who's going to be the top 4. And obviously this is just me assuming, you know, I don't look at spoilers like that, but I think it's pretty clear based on like what we're seeing that that's kind of where they're going. But I don't know now with Cornbread gone, it just definitely does shake it up a little bit. But I still think that for Lady Camden to get there, it would have to be like back to back. You know, it would have to be something a lot based on what we're seeing.
She's gonna have to get, someone's gonna have to get like 2 wins at least, and like not fall in the bottom at this point. I don't know.
I wonder who, and again, we don't know for sure if those other girls are the top 3, but I feel like they have to be, right? Based on what we're seeing. So I wonder who the 4th is now going to be, now that Cornbread's
June
gone.
Jambalaya.
I would say probably Kerri.
You think Kerri? I could see that.
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. And the only reason I say that is because, like, she did well this week, but I feel like Kerri's been incredibly inconsistent.
Mm.
And when she's for me, like, when you're good, you're good. And when you're not good, you're really not good. I think it could be someone maybe like a Daya Betty.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's been very solid at like near the higher end of the pecking order. I maybe would have put, like, she was like definitely in the higher part of the safe for me.
Yeah.
In this week, because I thought that whole group was good. Bosco, Camden, and Betty. I thought they all did really, really good. So I maybe someone like a Lady Camden. Honestly, so we get the bottom 2 of Jorgeous and Orion. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like a Jorgeous ends up there. If she starts winning some challenges, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Jorgeous.
Yeah.
If they stop the acting. If they keep doing acting, she's done.
Yes.
Or maybe this acting challenge, I could see it being where, like, her now being in the bottom and, like, just doing so well at the lip sync. Mm-hmm. Like, I could see it being a very good boost for her confidence-wise. Because she's, like, you know, reminds her of, like, what she does and, like, how she is a really good performer. So I could see it being like that. So obviously time will tell, but
we've seen that sort of storyline. The most recent example for me that I can remember offhand is someone like Eureka on season 11? 10. Eureka on season 10, where, like, she fell into the bottom episode 2, and then it kind of just propelled her forward, and she, like, slayed the rest of the season until she had to lip sync against Cameron. But that was at final 6.
Or Katya, same thing happened.
Definitely Katya as well. Like, someone who lip syncs early, but then, like, has this sort of, like, boost and it propels them forward. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw someone like Jorgeous end up in the top. I agree with you, Audrey. I think it's very, very, like, wide open at this point. But yeah, so Jorgeous and Orion.
The 4th spot is open. I think the other 3 are, I think it's pretty sealed.
Sure. But we get Jorgeous and Orion lip syncing to My Head and My Heart by Ava Max. I thought this was very, very good. I thought Orion did everything she possibly could, but you're going up against Jorgeous.
Jorgeous was just perfect. Just so good. And especially, I don't know why people take off the shoes still. It happened with
June. They fell off. She mentioned it on Twitter. They fell off. Because it was a strappy shoe. And so she went to go do like some move. They literally broke.
Damn. How brutal. Oh, God. Because I think anytime that happens, anytime, you know, someone, like, throws a wig off at this point, anytime that a shoe comes off, it's just like, I think this time we knew Jorgeous was going to win no matter what, but that's just always, like, the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, a different song, it maybe could have gone a different way. Mm-hmm. Like, if it was a ballad or something campy.
Yes.
I don't know if... I've only ever seen Jorgeous perform dance numbers.
Yeah.
But she also sometimes lacks in the face. Mm-hmm. So if it's a slow number, that could trip her up if she falls in the bottom 2. If she doesn't get a little more going on in her face.
Yeah.
Because her body's right. Like, she understands her body, but sometimes I feel like she's a little vacant.
Yeah. And I think that also has to do with the fact that she's 21. And, like, she has been doing drag for a while, but also she's 21.
She's still a
wild.
Literally. Like, and I normally say this about most 21-year-old, 21, 22-year-olds on Drag Race, because 9 times out of 10, they can do the, like, 5, 6, 7, 8, boom. Like, they can do that, but there's nothing in the face. And so I completely agree, Lucy. Like, if she can figure out what's happening in her face I guess. That sounded ruder than I wanted it to be. But y'all know what I mean. Like, if she can figure out the emotion of whatever she's giving and whatever the song is, then I think she's going to do fine. But I definitely don't think this is the last time we're going to see her lip sync.
Yeah, totally. Should it be like a Cameron Michaels, like how Cameron, what was it, like 4 times had to do it?
Yeah.
And just like, it's so good that she just keeps winning. Well, I don't know. You know, in the theory of Drag Race, you know,
debatable.
Like, yeah, because I don't know. Cameron's one of those queens where I just like, I don't, you know, I remember that she lip synced a lot. I remember more from Jorgeous is what I'm trying to get here. Jorgeous,
Sure.
you know, I connect more with what she's bringing to the table, but I could see her kind of having that trajectory as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we do, unfortunately, once again, it is once again the end of the Orion story. She's gone again. She did not have that gold chocolate bar, and neither did Cornbread. And now that we're at the end of the episode, I forgot that we still haven't talked about Willow and her workroom moment. So we're going to just squeeze that in real quick. Orion, you're beautiful. Go do things. Go live your best life. Yes. Willow and her disease and her slowly deteriorating body. I would like to acknowledge that. That's really all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all have anything
very
else.
Heavy. It's a very heavy, like, thing just to know. And I think it's interesting knowing that, like, she's close with Evie, and Evie, like, I mean, what they're dealing with is different, but like same in terms of like the deteriorating aspect. And so it's like a small world type thing of like, wow, like there are 2 queens that are like from the same area, know each other.
In the same, like, Willow is her drag daughter. So like a lot of that, like, knowing now what Willow's going through, a lot of that makes sense. Because when I found out, when Willow was announced, and then I found out that she was Evie's drag daughter, I was like, okay, sure. Now that I'm starting to learn more about Willow Pill, I understand. Like, it all makes a lot more sense. But yes, Orion is gone. We are down to... And Cornbread is gone.
10?
Can't forget about gone but not forgotten Cornbread. We're down to 10 queens going into a design challenge again.
Who was bad at the first design challenge? I feel like
Maddy.
They also had horrible fabrics. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
They said you have to red, white, and blue bridal. I would just walked out the damn building.
Honestly,
it's brutal.
Yeah. Maddy didn't do all that. Maddy lip synced. So Jorgeous didn't do that great, in my opinion, even though she was in the top somehow.
Kerri, I don't think did well.
Kerri did not do super well. Cornbread, but Cornbread is now gone. Cornbread also didn't do that well. Then I think everyone else was like pretty solid.
Serviceable,
so maybe this is the time that we see someone like a Lady Camden get a win. We see someone like a Daya Betty, maybe, because I really love Daya's look that she made for the ball. I found out they didn't really explain it all that well in the preview, but apparently it's all like it's a design challenge based on things that Michelle Visage bought online. So the runway category allegedly is called Glamazon Prime. So I'm confused, and I'm gonna be confused until Friday.
How random,
right? Like, I'm confused. I also love go check out our UK versus the World episode 1 will have already dropped by the time this is going out. But I also love, coincidentally, when Drag Race seasons line up, because both of the challenges next week are design challenges.
There we go.
And I don't think it was planned that way, but I love when that happens.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we just get to talk about a bunch of looks next week. Cool.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Sure.
Not to bring the room down at all, but did anybody else catch the one line about Tempest, like, having lunch with Betty White? Like, I was like, well,
didn't want to bring it up, Luci, because I'm still reeling.
But I was like, ooh, that's like, you not only called her old, like,
yeah.
Well, they didn't know, obviously.
Well, no, but I just thought
imagine
it was like,
if this episode had aired the week she passed. Like, could you imagine?
the dark humor I have, like I kind of giggled just a little bit because like, ooh, she called her so old that she's dead. But
I did too, but also like,
It's just like, what are the odds? You know, like what are the odds
Yeah.
that that's like in a episode so close to when she passed? Like,
well, because
Yeah.
they brought up
It's crazy.
Shady Pines and
Yep.
like,
Yeah. It's
oh, but
Just-
also last week we talked about, because you said you didn't watch Untucked, and I
yes.
brought up the only thing that happened was that I felt like Orion and
Mhm.
Jorgeous were very close in Untucked and
Mhm.
hold hands and flirting.
Mhm.
And did you notice, like in the notes that they left,
Mhm.
like Jorgeous left one for her saying that she had a crush on her?
I heard about that. I once again did not watch Untucked, so I am only getting half the story.
You are.
But no, I heard about the Jorgeous and Orion thing, which like weird, makes no sense, but I support it fully. If that's a thing, I want to see it. And then I heard about the cornbread moment. I watched the cornbread moment of her in the workroom. But yeah, I heard about that, and you called it, Lucy.
Well, that's what I was like when they were going up against each other. Like even the way Jorgeous looked over at her, I was like, "Oh, she
Give her a hug too,
Oh,
right?
that just clicked right now.
Well,
And
I'm also like one of those like hopeless romantic people.
Sure.
So I'm like when Jorgeous
Totally.
looked at her, I was like, "Oh." Like, I was like,
Totally.
this is horrible. You about to send this bitch home.
Yeah. But another week, another Drag Race episode is down. Lucy, Audrey, who are we choosing as our winner pick currently?
Willow. I say Willow. I think so I started watching Drag Race Alive season 11, and I have not been wrong about a
Oh.
winner pick since. So I am team Willow as of, no, I'm not as of right now, because it all started with like Jada, whenever she
Mhm.
like the first moment that I like saw her on Meet the Queens, I was like, she is winning. She is winning. Same thing with Simone. The first like picture I ever saw of Simone, I was like, Simone is winning. Same thing with Willow. Willow's entrance look, I was like, damn, like that's one of the ones that it's like different where you're like, oh, okay, like I see you. And so my guess is Willow for sure.
Yeah, I think Willow also, unless Willow just bombs, and then I think it'll be Angeria. But
yeah, I'm gonna say Angie. I'm very vocally team Angie. I would love if Willow won. Someone else that I think hasn't really been shown a whole lot, but I would love to see at least in the top 4, if not, if she wins a couple challenges, I'd love to see it, is also Lady Camden. I'm really enjoying Lady Camden and what she's bringing to the season. I think
she could definitely, so sorry to cut you off. I think she'll definitely be not winner, not
she'll be around for a while.
No. That's not what I'm saying. Where the queens vote for who was the nicest. What is that called? Congeniality. She'll be Miss Congeniality, I think, for sure.
I'm gonna disagree only because I think Cornbread now has that in the bag.
So true.
Unless someone is nicer, and it's not even that Cornbread was that nice. It's the fact that like she had her shady moments.
So lovable.
Exactly. I think Cornbread has it in the bag, unless anyone else or if Willow doesn't make top 4 somehow, then it's going to be Willow Pill.
That would be so shocking, I think, if Willow doesn't make top 4.
Yeah.
They've spent so much time on her story. It would be so shocking, I think.
I mean, I was also completely off base last season and was truly gagged when Lala Ree won Miss Congeniality. So honestly, who knows? We don't. So
because it's the queens now who vote for it, right? I know up until season 10 about how like they switched it to the queens voting because Vixen was going to get it, and I guess they didn't want that.
So it was a combination of season 9 when Valentina got fan favorite, and also the season 10 Miss Congeniality vote got hacked. And so I think it was either going to be, I think it was Vixen or like Calorie Kardashian
Oh.
was like supposed to get Miss Congeniality. And then so they had to scrap it last minute right before the finale filmed. And then the queens voted, and Monet X Change won with 3 votes.
How wild.
3 votes. Runner-up was Dusty Ray Bottoms.
How wild.
Truly. Like, it, Drag Race is wild.
It is wild. And like, I don't even remember who's won it since season, because I just love Monet so much. So past season 10, I'm like, who's won it any of the other years?
11 was Nina.
Mm-hmm.
12 was Heidi. And 13 was Lala.
There we go.
So 14, probably Cornbread or Willow. Honestly, at this point, that's who it's going to be. So with that, that is what we think about season 14, episode 5 of RuPaul's Best Friends Make Him Laugh, Southern Hospitality Race. Audrey and Lucy, I want to thank you both so much for coming back, joining for more drag content. They'll be back. So love them, appreciate them, send them, in Lucy's case, your money for cosmetics. In Audrey's case, views on YouTube.
Yeah, subscribe.
All the things. That's what we think about it, but let us know what you think. Follow us on Twitter at @thecup_reality, and all of our links, all of our co-hosts, all of our special guests, all of their links will be available below, so make sure to go check them out. And with that, I don't know if anyone has a cup nearby. I'm going to use my giant pitcher that currently has nothing in it. But we'll go ahead and cheers. Cheers. Goodbye. Bye-bye now. Bye. Why are you still here? Goodbye. I'm so sad Cornbread is gone. Goodbye.